Hello, this is the Aftermarket Report with Vegas and Jim. Today's date is February the 25th, 2019, and another really great day today. I'm going to hand this right over to Miss Vegas so she can tell us what we're looking at, the watch list.
All right. Well, you know what, guys and girls? This was a really busy day today in the morning, especially. And I definitely want to talk about the following. So we're going to talk about NIO, we're going to talk about ZSAN or ZSAN, Roku, Etsy, GE, and then I kind of want to wrap it up with the SPY today. Because then it's, kind of been a little bit volatile. So I'd love to hear Jim's comments on that later. So why don't we just get right ahead here and talk about Nile? So, I hope you guys listened to the market report yesterday. We did mention that William Lee was going to be talking about his cars and that his cars are a status symbol in China. And they have a beautiful showroom in Shanghai. And they were showcasing the ES8 and basically saying that this is a status to drive a NIO or NIO. And they did talk about they actually have exclusive clubhouses for owners only. And he's dubbed by the Tesla of China. He thinks that this actual car is more of a lifestyle, and that this will become a serving status for the middle and upper class China residents. As you guys know, electric car sales are taking off in China, and NIO is definitely a competitor to Tesla. And they currently sell for about $60,000 in China. I mean, these are not that cheap. And however, it is half the price of what an imported Tesla would cost. So that's huge. Also in December, if you remember, NIO did announce an electric compact SUV, and these will start showing up in showrooms in June 2019. And also, they are going to open 70 NIO houses in 2019. So talk about growth, talk about expansion. This company is poised for a big move longer term. However, Jim, I'd love you to talk about this chart because I want to just mention, this is to me gone beyond IPO initial pricing, had a beautiful move today. And for those of you that like to listen to my option ideas, we did talk about NIO, but I did buy an option call today for the March 15th expiry, and I bought the $9 call, and I paid for that one 65 cents. So we'll see where it goes in the next couple weeks. I think I paid a little too much. I probably could have got it for like 55. But it's okay. I'm not disappointed with the actual option call. So I'm just gonna hold on and we'll see what happens on NIO. So stay tuned on that one. Jim, let's hear about that chart because I saw some action happening after hours.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this all last week. We've been talking about this stock for about 3 or 4 months now, on the pullback and on the bounces and finding resistance and finding supports. Well, last week we started talking about it when it was down here at the low $7.25 area. And I bought, I think the week before that, I bought me a few options for the $8 strike price, if I remember right. And we went beyond that today. We talked about it in the room Friday about the news coming out on that Vegas just spoke about, and we woke up this morning and this thing was running huge, and it's running here after hours also. So I'm going to pull up the 5-day chart, kind of magnify that up a little bit. Right down here in this area, we were talking about it last week, said let's start getting in this stock and ride it up to the bounce. So from $7.20 all the way to $9.15 right now with a double top after hours. So let me pull up the daily 1 minute. This is my favorite day trading chart that I like to trade off of. I have my 3 favorite moving averages on it: the 200, the 100, and the 50. And we right out for, I mean, first thing this morning, this thing popped up. I worked graveyard shift, so I was able to watch this stock run up to $9, and talking to a few people in the room that are the early birds. Some are about ready to go to bed, and I just now wake up. So we pulled this on back to my support level. I called this support level pre-market before it even got down here at 856. I said
Mhm.
this is where this thing's going to go to. I had actually two places I was going to stop at, the 876 and then the 856. So she went ahead and she hit that. Then she just had a upper wedge all the way up to the day high of pre-market to 914. And then she almost came back down again and hit that 856. And I scalped it from here, ran it up to it was about 890, 892, got out of it. It ran up a little bit higher to 905. Then it pulled back to my second support at 876 that I called earlier in the day. Bounced off of it a few times, created a little M right here. I mean, that's a pretty beautiful, I mean, this is a real nice chart if you get to look at it. You know it was going to break out after it did this last initial dip right here, and it bounced and dipped on down. And I'm going to magnify that up so you can see it a little bit better. You see how it's like a McDonald M right there. And she went ahead and bounced up, bounced off the moving averages and ran up. And then here after hours, we had a day high of 915, which is really a double top. Pull it back here and you can see where it was right here at 914. She came back, pulled back, and hit that 50 SMA here after hours, and we're back up there at the top again. So I think this thing can really finally caught legs. China is really big on promoting their electric cars. They've, I mean, so the government, and they're going to subsidize them a little bit, and so I'm just all excited about NIO. I think next year this sucker's going to run probably 100%, maybe $18 to $20 is my long-term goal on it. But I'll be scalping it on the way up, and I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to buy me some options myself. And this is NIO. I'm very bullish on this stock, and I've been bullish on it from day one. Ever since it pulled back, I've just been playing little bounce plays on it. We finally busted past that resistance. The next one we're going to talk about is ZSAN. Vegas?
Okay, so we mentioned this ZSAN also last week, and one of the things I mentioned was that they received the completion of the final milestone in their study of Kyrtropia, which was the treatment for migraine disease. And this one we did say, I mean, it had a nice run that day, last Thursday, and then we said, this one should still be kept on watch for potential pullback and then a potential run again. And today we actually saw that happen. I actually caught this today earlier in the morning at around 465 was the price where I was kind of caught my intention of where I like to get into this trade, and it ran beautifully all the way to as high as 574. Didn't take it that high, but certainly was a nice move. And I think it's one that we should still keep on watch because you know what? We like to play the pullbacks on things that have ran in the past and had nice volume today. I mean, 8.19 million. And they're, it's still a good company. So, Jim, what are your thoughts on, keeping ZSAN on the watch list?
There was one thing I want to keep it on the watch list, but I want to bring up NIO one more time here.
Oh, okay.
There was I wanted to give some target prices. I didn't give any target prices on it. So I've got 3 different target prices. I would like to see it after it breaks out past this 914 area. One of them is going to be right around 950 to 960. The next one after that's going to be right around 991. And if she can run up, break past that 991, I think we'll get into the $10 area again. So I got 1058. So if you want to find resistance on it, go to the previous high. That was back about 180 days ago, 6 months ago. Well, probably 5. And you can see where she ran up and look for places that consolidated. So now we're going to talk about ZSAN. But I wanted to bring that back up because I failed to mention the resistances that I
That's
want to look
okay.
for. So here's ZSAN. I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull it down to a 20-day chart. I'm going to show you that breakout she was talking about. Then Friday, We had a little hump right there, and she decided to go ahead and correct itself. Called a dead cat bounce. And then today we started seeing the momentum on it take place, and we ran it all the way up to resistance level of around 570. I'm going to pull up the daily chart. This was a real neat stock to watch today. I had a lot of fun with it. I knew that it run previously, so I figured it was going to be a small dead cat bounce. And she went ahead and had a golden cross right here where the 50 crossed over the 200. It broke out, hit my little trend line up here of resistance right around 537, pulled back and hit that 50 SMA. And then I was telling the room that what we had here, the breakout that happened, right when it pulled back, I seen the initial breakout and I seen the doji come in. So I let the room know, and it ran up to 528, and it played in this channel most of the day. And then at the end, not most of the day, but the first part of the day. And then she went ahead and broke out to that 570. And then I always like keeping these three moving averages because they're very relaxed, and I play off my trend lines. These are my extended trend lines that I put together on periods of consolidation off the bases of the candle. And then in the room, I called this little pennant flag. We had 3 white soldiers come up, created a little pennant flag here, and right when I called this flag out, I told the room it wasn't probably 5 to 10 seconds after that squeeze started to happen, we ran back up to 570 again. And then then I told the room, we hit resistance. You might want to take your profit after this big breakout here from 552 to 570. So she went ahead and pulled back. She corrected herself, had a little fake out bounce, and then hit that 100 SMA. I called the green flag out again at 537. I said you could probably run it back up, take it up, and then we had the correction the rest of the day. With some pretty nice little bitty bounces on it for scalping, but by this time I was looking into other stocks. Today we had a multiple day of real good trades, just one right after another. So it was really a fun day. If you keep a good watch list going, you can keep yourself busy all day long. And this is going to be ZSAN playing off the dead cat bounce that we had off Friday, the pullback. And it was just a wonderful, and it's like gravity. You don't expect for it to run up as big as it did before, but I guarantee you can get you at least a 50% retracement on it sometimes off the lows. So, and that's what we got. So the next one we're going to talk about is one that Vegas played real well in options in, and that's going to be Roku.
Yeah, so I just want to give an update on Roku because I know that it helps people with smaller accounts. So Roku was excited for today because I thought, oh my gosh, the stock's going to go a little higher, which means I'm going to have more money. But you know what? Listen, nothing can just keep going on forever and ever and ever. And you know what? Roku went as high on the option land. I think I saw it here earlier, but I think when I was looking at it, it did go like 775 earlier in the day. But you know what? I didn't take that. I just thought, you know what? Let me just, I was so busy looking at other stocks, but let me just see here just for 1 second. But I did sell the option call finally because I said, I better take my money, like who knows what tomorrow could be. I mean, Roku's still bullish. I still like it. It did go as high, sorry, 755 was the high of day on the option call. However, I sold mine for 615. So I had a nice little profit of $452 was my closed P&L. I bought it for 163. So that was a nice trade. I only held it for 2 days, but it just goes to prove the point that if you can get a nice option call on a decent chart setup, and this was also an earnings play. So it was a bit of a little lotto, meaning, the earnings could have gone the wrong way. But don't forget, I bought this after earnings was released, not prior to earnings. So it really wasn't a lotto. So I take that back. But I did buy it after the earnings was released. And it worked out beautifully. And I'm very happy. And congratulations to many people that messaged me that said they traded the same one or they paid a little bit more, but they were very happy to have banked a few $100s. only putting in like, $175 or less to start. So excellent way to grow an account. I'm loving these stories. Please continue to share them because it just really inspires me to want to do more and share more with you guys. But Jim, Roku had a fun day today, but also pulled back.
Yep, and
What can we see? What can we see here?
really didn't pull back much. I mean, it actually bounced. It had Friday. It had a 52.90 high low. We talked about it after market on our aftermarket report about her option play on it. It ran up right about up into here. Right about, well, I think it closed right around $65. And I kind of said it would consolidate a little bit. It did after hours. And then actually we had another $2 bounce after it in the first, around 11, 12 o'clock in the day. It was right around 9, 10 o'clock mid-eastern time. And she ran up to 67. And then she's kind of just gradually pulled back all day long, keeping yesterday's gains. And that is very respectful to me. I figured this is probably what would happen. I actually thought, I did call a pullback on this stock to the support level at 63.24, and you can watch the last video and see that call that I made here at the red line, and it did actually pull back to that area, and then she bounced up. So from that area right here at 63.25, somewhere right around there, it bounced all the way up to 67.43, which is actually a pretty good little trade in itself. And then she consolidated. We had the 50-day start to cross down, show sign of weakness. Then she got disrespected. The stock started respecting under that 50-day, and so that kind of gave it a weak sign too. But actually, she closed right around the high of the previous day. So I keep this stock on watch. I hope the sediment doesn't settle down on it because it can go a lot higher. And what I mean by a lot higher, I'll show you the previous high that it did have on a year's chart. Well, this thing ran all the way up to 77.57. The earnings were great on this trade. So if we can consolidate a little bit more, we might get little gain bounces out of it for the rest of the week. This is Roku. Keep it on watch. It's a real good stock right now. It's caught a lot of fat cats' attention. And then there's another play that Miss Vegas wants to talk about, and that'll be Etsy.
Yeah, so we talked about this one last night. So those of you that listened to the market report knew that I was really interested in this Etsy, little arts and crafty little website. And I really love the story. But what I really love more is the fact that the earnings were just wonderful. They beat the estimates, Wall Street estimates, which is really important and key to the move of the stock. Okay. So Etsy had a beautiful move after hours, and let me just see. I'm just taking a look at it now. I did not buy the option call. I just thought it was just overpriced, and the mistake was really to look to buy the option call last week, just before the earnings, and not today, a few hours before, because it was just overpriced. Still probably would have made money on it, but the option call this morning was like over $500 for one contract. So I just thought it was a little bit not, a little bit too much for options right now. So nevertheless, though, they had a very strong earnings report, and the market's very pleased with it. It had, its biggest move ever. The shares rose as much as 12%. They had a very strong quarter. They did beat bottom and top. Their e-com earnings went up 32 cents. Revenue of $200 million. Wall Street forecast was 194.9, so they beat that. And we also see gross merchandise sales increase 20.4% to over $3.9 billion. So I have to say, congratulations to Etsy traders, and good job to Etsy in general. Etsy, great company. I love to support people that are artists and craft makers. There's so much talent on that website, and it's nice to know that a company like Etsy has actually helped people start a business, and it's also helped people generate income for themselves. So a lot of entrepreneurs on there, And it's some people have, made it a full-time job having a business on Etsy's platform. So I think it's great that this company has built a portal where people can showcase their talent and in turn help them generate income for a full-time job. So that's wonderful. I mean, I think that's great. I just love this company. So far, Etsy is not a disappointment. Funny enough, I ordered something from Etsy a couple weeks ago and I just got it. I'll have to take a picture and show it tomorrow. But I did order. There was a lady that made these like decals that can go on your car, like on the window of your car, and she made custom ones for Maltese dogs. And she'll actually put your dog's name. So I ordered one for Gucci and I just got it and it looks adorable and it's handmade, custom made, and it's just amazing. So I'm going to take a picture of it and I'll show it to you guys tomorrow because I just want to just show you how Etsy has talent and it's like, wow, I would never would find this. And the people on there that I've talked to for stuff I've bought, so nice because a lot of them are just self-employed and they just really want to help make you a happy customer. So, congratulations, Etsy. And what do we see, Jim, for tomorrow? Because you know what? I might want to buy an option call for something further down the road.
And
What do you see there?
I was looking on the arts and crafts section, arts and
Oh,
collectibles,
yeah.
and I pulled up this big old bowl that they want $720 for this bowl right here.
Wow.
So yeah, I've got me a little account with them too, and I paint work. I showed you here on the last video that I like to paint, so I might get me a few ideas here. Vegas has been wanting me to paint a bowl, and I might just do it. So let's look at the chart here. Etsy had the real nice after hours breakout, and I mean that this company makes a lot of money. I was impressed on the revenue that they're bringing in. And after hours, so this is the year's chart. I've got this all charted up, and we busted past resistance here after hours. Let me pull up the daily, get a good look at this breakout. We did have a pullback here, so that would have been a nice little scalp play. I always say sometimes if you can't trade the market during the daytime and you get home right when the market closes, have you a nice little watch list and play some of these scalps off the after earnings after hours. Seems like they always go up, or in most cases they always fall back down and bounce right back up to the day high. Even if I see it all the time. So anybody that knows how to play earnings can. So here we are. We broke out that year's high right here. We got 66.60 today after hours. She did pull back to 57. Unbelievable. And then she bounced right back up to 62 right here. You see what I'm talking about? They take their profit, they pull it back, and they get back in it. And there's two trades you can make on this stock that if you played that after hours play right here. Done very well with it. Done very well. We had to break this 60.45, which was the morning high. You see it did pull back to support level. And then she went ahead and followed up the tight bands of my moving averages. And then right after hours, they broke out. And then you seen the sign of weakness when the 50 came down. I would have got out of it and bought down here at the bottom. Right down here at support level, which is right here. You can see where it consolidated, where you had the previous high of the previous day. So that would have been a perfect entry level right there around $56, $57. And you could have made you a good $4 trade on that, $5 trade on that stock. Because it did touch up to the 50. So I would keep this on watch. We're at all-time highs on it. Let me pull up a 3-year and see what we can see. If it did get higher, no, this is an all-time high. All-time high on this stock right now. So let's see if it can consolidate, pull back to support level, which is right around $56, $57, and see if you can get back in it again. This is Etsy. I might look at some puts and some calls on it and play it both ways tomorrow. We'll just see how the price is. I probably can't afford them right now because I just started trading options, and I got a very, not a small account that I also want to learn how to start trading. So that's Etsy, and then we're going to talk about the news on GE and how it ran today.
My God, can I just say GE was a bargain? I mean, like last month. Like I remember GE was under $6, right?
Yep.
Like we were talking about this and saying this is a good stock for longer term investors that might like something because we knew that, GE, such a sad story that the stocks pulled back significantly and all these pension funds and all that, but losing millions of dollars, billions actually, but knew that, what, they're going to turn this around. It's going to take some time and a different, different strategies. And my goodness, GE has done well for people that scooped up those dips back then.
Yep.
So definitely, I want to just mention what happened here with GE today. So, GE, General Electric, they had some news, and the news on GE was that they had sold their biopharmaceutical business for $21 billion. And they sold it to Danaher for $21 billion cash. And the chairman of GE, Larry, who also managed, by the way, this is how I love these people, how they have connections with people. So the GE chairman and CEO, Larry, do you know, this is a good fact, okay? He used to manage Danaher for more than a decade. He worked there and he then left that company to join GE. And he joined GE in October of last year. So guess what? You don't think that he had it in his head that, hey, listen, I left that company, came to GE, and you know what? I should approach Danaher to buy GE's biopharmaceutical business because I think it would be a good fit. And guess what? Bingo. The previous guy that works there sells the biopharmaceutical company to his previous employer. Now, what he did say was that he is focused on managing the remaining core business of GE. And, Larry is going to make sure that he is going to focus on the aviation, power, and renewable energy. And also, GE is involved in 3D printing. They're also involved in financial services and digital services. So I think we're going to see a lot more with GE. We know they've had definitely some rocky months. And you know that the Dow kicked off GE, like they just removed it from the Dow. And it's been, basically trying to get back on there. The company also did mention last year that they would spin off GE Healthcare in order to shrink their debt. So I think that, they're trying to do a lot of things to turn this around. And I have to say, you know what, Larry, you're doing a good job. So let's just see what happens as time goes on. But you know what? Good job, Larry. I mean, listen, he's doing the right thing and turning this around. And who wouldn't be happy to know that the stock, at one time was not that long ago. And look, it's coming back. So, Jim, I want to hear what you have to say about that.
Yep. Today, well, we did call the bottom on this stock right around $7. They started upgrading the GE itself, and I identified a pennant flag breakout right around $7, and she went ahead and bounced on up. And this is the yearly chart, and today we reached and hit that 200 SMA, and that was a big deal on this trade. So I'm going to pull up the 20-day, see what we got on the 20-day. I've got it pretty scarred up with my trend lines because I've been on this stock every day looking at it. And then today we had that big breakout from this level right here around 10.15. She ran all the way up to $12, 12.06, a $2 spread. And then she pulled back all day long and hit my support level at 10.77. Actually, 10.77 was a resistance that I called a couple weeks back. I said we were going to get there because of this previous candle right here. You see what I'm talking about? I'm going to identify it with a circle. We hit that high, so we had a double top. She bounced up and hit that high again, pulled back, hit that 200 SMA. Then she got back up in here, and we called this trade out a couple weeks ago. Said resistance was going to be right around 1049, 1056, and if it wanted to break out from that resistance, we were going to see the 1077 mark, which was the previous high for a double top. So then she pulled back, and we had kind of an accelerating upward band on this stock ever since. Not a very big one, but definitely lower highs with a trend line going straight across. And then today when it got the news, bam, right pre-market, it ran all up. So anybody that was in this trade that wasn't in options could have got out of it early this morning. I mean, the ones that were in it probably sold their options first thing. I would have, definitely. And she pulled back to support level, which was that previous high that we had twice at 1077. So I actually would, and I kind of know how this stock trades. It can pull back a little bit more. It can pull back a little bit more. So I got a red line target here at 1050. But I'd like to see it hold this 1077 and bounce up and create a new high right here, a new resistance, which is going to be right around 1173. But this news, let me change this here chart, add that 1073. So I'm going to add a couple, I'm going to chart this up while I'm talking to you, where I think the next support levels, resistances will be. I'm going to pull this back down to a 5-day, 5-minute. I'm going to look at it. I'm pretty confident about it right now. I'm going to draw a little trend line right in here, thinking that could be a resistance right under $11. See that little hump there? So what I want to see is this 50-day to move back up, maybe kiss this 100, 200, and then start to bounce back up and cross over that 100 and keep that 50-day on top. So this is GE. Let me look at the daily 1 minute just one more time here, see if I find anything that I missed out on. I do see a trend right here. I'm going to draw me a little trend line of resistance at 1122. Yep, I think this thing will hold. If it doesn't, it's going to pull back to the 1050 area and then retrace back on up and right back up to here where she is right now, somewhere around this 1077. That's what we got to break. So congratulations to anybody that been following GE and held on to it and was able to get out of it at a higher price, or even, but I would have definitely, on a breakout like this, $2 on GE, I would have took my money and run. I'm going to draw a little resistance line right here at 1203, and I'm going to draw another one right here right around 1190. So that's GE. Then we're going to talk about, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jim.
We're going to talk about the SPY a little bit.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can you talk about the SPY?
Yep.
Because, we had the news last night about the China tariffs are not going to be implemented. They're going to extend the tariff, until they hopefully come up with a deal. And obviously our POTUS, definitely the way he was tweeting, definitely shared that it looked extremely positive. And you know what? I'm happy to hear that. And so is the market. So we did see a nice reaction this morning, based on some of those factors, because it did affect the Chinese market, which opened up at some record highs, and China looking to inject more capital, $200 billion into the financial services. So that's actually very positive for China. And I think that's great. The SPY had a nice open today, pre-market. Actually had a nice run during the day. It went as high as all the way as 281.31. I was actually hoping it would have gone to about 281.75. It didn't get there, but that's okay. It pulled back, and right now it's trading around 279.27. So it's kind of nearing towards like the way it closed on Friday, because Friday we closed at 279.14, and we're kind of heading there at this time, live as we speak, 6:13 Eastern Standard Time. So, Jem, what can you tell me about the SPY, and can you give me some resistance and forecasts on those, based on what you can see on these charts?
Yeah. Well, I'm not I've been watching the SPY forever. I just really started watching it here in the past year or so, and here in the past couple of weeks since I've started trading options, I've really started paying attention to it. I've been more of a small penny stock, not a penny stock player, but penny stocks. Yeah, anything under $5, under $10. I've been playing most of my trading experience. But here lately, I've expanded my horizon. And when we had the budget passed, I told the room, I said this thing was going to run up. I said back when we had the bad December and it sold off real bad. Let me pull that up. The 3-month. I know I've got it in here somewhere. 3 year. I can't find it. Well, here's the yearly chart. So 6 months, and we did have that big pullback on it. I said, get in this thing. This thing's going to run up. We're going to have a real good run on it in 2019. And look at this thing. All the way here when we had that real bad December, the worst December that the market's ever had. People that made a lot of money shorting this stock. I know a lot of people that made a lot of money on this stock. And now, if they would just reverse that pattern and run it back up, they could have made the same thing back again. And I've always told people that trade, I said a stock can fall 7 times faster than it can bounce up. And you can see that's evident right here, how fast, how hard that thing dropped in a matter of 10 days. It just bam, and here it has been 3 months later, and you're back up here at resistance again. The resistance on this stock is right around 281. And when they passed that budget last week, about 6-7 days ago, I said this thing was going to run to the 279. It did. That's where we kind of closed at right now, 279.20. So I hit that right on the button. And she pulls back and she hits this 50 SMA every time. And this is on a 6-month chart, 180 days. And let me pull up the 20-day. And I know there's a lot better traders at this SPY than I am. So just kind of take a grain of salt with some of the stuff I say about it. But I am pretty accurate with my charts. And we did have a little pullback here now today, where she pulled back to this 279 area, 279.20, and hit that 50 SMA. And we had a day high of 281.31. And I'm going to go ahead and draw me a little resistance line where I think it should be. And that's going to be right around 281.24. So let's keep a good eye on it. She does like to pull back to the previous highs, which we had right here at 279.40. I called it in the room today off the 50, and look what happened right here. We hit that 50. So that was a real time to get out. It was right up here around the 281 area today. And I kind of mentioned that in the room that we were going to get a little pullback, and we did. And I think it'll hold support. I think with this China news that's going to come out here this coming week, and I kind of look at the market different than the fat cats do on Wall Street. I don't pay much attention to their gibberish, and I just play on the charts and on the action. And a lot of times that fogs up their head. It's tariff this, tariff that, tariff this, tariff that for a whole year. That's what brought the market down last year. It gave them a reason to bring it down. I think the economy is better than it's ever been, but there's definitely a big difference. I mean, they don't correlate one bit to each other at all. I think the earnings are great. I think the SPY will keep going up a little bit. Even on the way to work today to my office here, I'm hearing recession this, recession that, Europe, tariffs, and I'm just shaking my head going, it ain't going to have nothing to do with playing the action on the chart. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's how I trade. Other traders trade different, and I don't let that fog my brain path when it comes to trading stocks. I kind of kick it out and not even pay attention to it. So this is the SPY. I think we'll bounce back up to about 279, 280, and that's going to be where your first resistance is. And I could probably draw another one right here around 279.72, and this is one that you just want to watch the action on. And that's SPY in Vegas. I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Yeah, so I just want to thank everyone for listening, following, subscribing, but I do want to give a special shout out to Trish. I'm just so excited what she told me today. So Trish is one of our YouTube followers, and she's been listening to us. She lives out in California, and she's been listening to us since we started the channel, and we're just so grateful that she actually listened and started tuning in as a regular subscriber. And she actually liked the fact that we were here to help people with small accounts and really try to help people trade different ways and different styles to generate some revenue for themselves to get them to grow a smaller account. Anyhow, so she really liked the fact that we talked about option ideas and that there was some very good option opportunities for her, because really trading stocks was just not working. And you know what? You can get frustrated trading stocks because, you start with $1,000. Next thing you know, you're down half, you're down less. And it's like, you don't even have much left. And it's like, what am I going to buy with $100? So the options really does provide a trading vehicle, a different trading instrument, so that people could try to make money. Anyhow, long story short, I had the wonderful opportunity to actually talk to her today, because she messaged me because she came to check out of the room and she loved the live commentary. She said she's been learning so much. And this is what really inspired me the most. She's told me her account went from a few $100s to over $2,000 in the last, I guess, since January. And she's really so happy about the growth. And she's been doing it slowly, slowly. Sometimes she only makes $200 a week, but she's just happy to see the account grow. And that's what counts. And not only has she seen her account grow, she also was inspired to inspire her daughter, who's like 25. And she told her about option trading, and from, listening and following us and coming to the chat room to learn in real time. And now her daughter started trading options. And she actually told me her daughter bought Cisco, CSCO, for like 6 cents. So $6 calls, $6 each call, each contract. And believe it or not, they're now going for like, I think it was 16 or 18 cents. So her daughter tripled 300% on her own option. I mean, I didn't share that option call. Her daughter found it on her own, which is great, because the whole point of learning is to become independent, to make your own entries, make your own decisions. And this is just amazing. Mother-daughter trading. This is awesome. And even Southern Grace, she's mother-daughter trading. So I love that we are inspiring everybody. And I love to see women traders. And I love to see just everybody, anybody and everybody that wants to learn that's new. Please come check us out, because I think that once you experience what it's like to be in the room live versus listening to a video to YouTube recap, it's very different. In the chat room, you can get real-time explanations of what's happening on charts. And Jim is very focused and is here to help, and I'm here to help too. So on that note, thank you so much. Pleasure to hear from you, Trish. And anyone else that wants to share any stories, please comment below on our website, or comment below here on our YouTube, because we read them all and we respond to everybody. So have a good night, everyone, and look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
All right. Well, this is the Aftermarket Report with Jim in Vegas, or Vegas and Jim. Oops. Should never do that. And would you please subscribe to our channel and ring that bell for future updates. And this is February the 25th, 2019, and we love stocks.